All right, let's talk about one of the most important networks in automation, Profibus. If you work in this field, you're gonna run into it, guaranteed. Knowing how to handle it when things go wrong, well, that's not just a nice-to-have skill. It's absolutely essential. So let's dive in. And trust me, that is no exaggeration. Just picture it, a massive steel mill, a complex chemical plant. The whole operation can grind to a complete halt. And why? Because of one loose connector or a tiny resistor that's out of place. The stakes are massive, but the good news is the fixes are often way simpler than you'd think, as long as you know where to look. So first things first, you need to know that Profibus isn't just one single thing. When you're out there on the plant floor, you're going to come across two main flavors, DP and PA, and understanding what makes them different is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. Let's break it down. On one side, you've got Profibus DP. That stands for Decentralized Peripherals. Think of this as the Sprinter. It's your high-speed workhorse running on the classic RS-485 layer. It's all about fast, discrete control, connecting PLCs to things like motor drives and I/O. Then you've got Profibus PA for process automation. This one's the marathon runner. It's slower on purpose and uses a special power-over-the-wire tech that's intrinsically safe. This makes it perfect for hazardous areas, where a spark is the last thing you ever want. And here is the simplest way to remember all that. Just lock this into your brain. DP controls machines, PA measures the process. DP is for action and speed, PA is for instruments and safety. It's a super simple phrase that'll save you a ton of confusion when you're out in the field. All right, let's move on to something that's, often overlooked but causes so many headaches. We're talking about the GSD file. Getting this wrong is a classic mistake, and it can stop a project dead in its tracks. So, what even is it? Well, the GSD file is basically a digital passport for every single device on your network. It's a little text file that tells the main PLC exactly what it's talking to. Is it a drive, an I/O block? It lays out all the rules for communication. If you don't have the right GSD file, the PLC has no clue how to talk to the device, and it just won't. And here's a pro tip that will literally save you hours, maybe even days of frustration. Always, and I mean always, download the latest GSD file directly from the manufacturer's website. And here's the crucial part. Make sure that GSD version matches the firmware version of the actual device in your hand. A mismatch there is one of the most common reasons for errors. Okay, now we're getting to the heart of it. Because while software can be tricky, most real-world Profibus problems start right here, with the physical network design and installation. This is really where the battle for a reliable system is either won or lost. So here's the deal with Profibus DP. There's this fundamental trade-off between speed and distance. It's a hard and fast rule. You want to run your network at the top speed, 12 megabits per second? Great, but your cable segment can't be longer than 100 meters. Need to cover more ground? You have to slow things down. Drop the speed to 1.5 megabits, and now you can go 400 meters. Trying to break these rules is just asking for a network that's going to give you nothing but trouble. Now I want you to remember one number. If you forget everything else, remember this one number. And that number is 2. I'm not kidding. This is so important. Every single Profibus segment must have exactly 2 termination resistors. Not 1, not 3, 2. One at the very beginning of the wire and one at the absolute end. These little resistors stop the electrical signals from bouncing back and corrupting the data. I promise you, a missing or extra terminator is the #1 cause of those weird, intermittent faults that just seem to disappear and reappear and drive everybody crazy. Okay, so the worst has happened. The network is down, the alarms are blaring. What do? Panicking is not a strategy. What you need is a logical step-by-step process. So let's walk through a pro-level troubleshooting checklist. First things first, just look at the LEDs on the device. A red BF light or bus fault tells you it can't talk on the network. An SF or system fault usually means there's an issue with the device itself. Second, get on your laptop and open up the PLC software. The diagnostic buffer will often tell you exactly which device is having a problem. Third, go check the usual physical suspects. Is the address switch set right? Are the connectors on tight? And yes, are those terminators correct? And finally, if you're still stuck, it's time to bring out the big guns, a dedicated diagnostic tool like a ProfiTrace that can literally show you the health of the signal on the wire. And all of that brings us to the golden rule of Profibus. If you take away only one thing from this, let it be this. 80 to 90% of problems are physical. They are not in the software. So before you start digging through code, go check the physical layer. Check the cables, the power, the connectors. More often than not, the problem is something you can actually see and touch. Of course, the best way to fix a problem is to prevent it from ever happening in the first place. A bulletproof network is built on a solid foundation of best practices right from day one. So, how do you build that rock-solid network? It's pretty straightforward. Always use the proper purple shielded PROFIBUS cable. Make sure that shield is grounded correctly. Keep your network cables physically separated from high-voltage power lines. Electrical noise is a killer. Don't cheap out on connectors. They are such a common point of failure. And finally, please, document your network. A simple spreadsheet with device addresses and locations will be a lifesaver down the road. So there you have it. Mastering these fundamentals really does make you a more effective, more valuable engineer. You become the person who can solve those tough problems and cut down on expensive downtime. But automation never, ever stands still. The principles we just talked about, good design, logical troubleshooting, they're the foundation for what comes next. So the question is, now that you've got a handle on the field bus, are you ready for industrial Ethernet? Because we're going to tackle Profinet in our next explainer.